Hello. This video is not meant to be a review, critique, or even really a discussion about The Last of Us Part 2. In this video, I'm going to be avoiding talking about major plot points, so I can avoid spoiling it for those who have not had a chance to play it yet and don't know anything about the game. Although, let's be honest, if you're watching this, you probably have already played the game. I'm also not going to be just hating on the game, so if you are looking for another video that's just going to keep hating on this game, you're not going to find it here, and I would just recommend clicking off this video. Rather, this video, it will be about why it is that you should play this game, and that if you enjoyed the first game, you more than likely are going to enjoy this game, because this game is made for the fans of the first game. Now, the story of The Last of Us Part 2 is different than really any video game story that we've ever had before. And I would argue that once everything is said and done, once the dust is cleared from the initial launch of this game, give it a couple months, a few years down the line, this will probably go down as one of the most important video game stories, as well as even maybe one of the most important video games in the history of the media. And yes, that's a weighty statement, but allow me to explain. Naughty Dog has given us a heavy, emotional story, with the main themes being cycles of violence, what a human life ends up being worth, how easy it is to hate that which we do not know, and that there are different sides to every single story. In this story, we've also been given characters that grow as the story continues, and not in ways that might be expected. We see that characters are pushed to their limits. We see that characters change their points of view as the game goes on. And we're also getting characters who have not been portrayed all that much in video games. This is, for the most part, every character in this is a minority of some sort, which is refreshing and probably going to be one of the last times we see that for quite a little while. Not only that, but there are topics and issues that are covered in this game, which to my knowledge have not been covered in this media ever before. You know, there's a trans character in it. There are questions as to morality that really haven't been brought up before. They also humanize faceless enemies. You know, most video games that you play, I would actually argue that all video games, aside from this one, paint every single enemy character as just fodder. They're not people. Even when you play against people, even when you're playing Call of Duty, or you're playing any video game, really, you're not thinking that these are people. They're just video game fodder. And in this game, they call out their friends' names when they die. When you kill them, they scream in agony until they finally expire. And a lot of people are having issues with that. And I feel that the reason why they're having issues with that is because this is the first time that a video game has made them feel those things. And then the other major aspect of this game's story is that we finally have what a lot of people have been asking for, which is an antagonist that isn't just a bad guy. We have an antagonist that we can actually understand why it is that they do what they did. And in what is probably a controversial statement, I feel that they were justified in their actions. Now, allow me to explain why. Just put yourself, if you've played this game, I want you to put yourself in their shoes. push aside any emotions that you have regarding this character. And just think, if you were them, if what happened to them had happened to you, would you have done anything different than what they did? I can almost guarantee that you would. Any of us would. I know that I would. And I feel that if you're saying that you wouldn't, that you should give yourself some time to cool down from what happens in this game, and then come back to it a few months from now and ask yourself that same question. And then the last thing that I want to talk about for this video are the reviews. Lots and lots of YouTubers have been painting this game in a very negative light. And I've watched around 20 of these reviews that have given it bad ratings. And essentially they all boil down to this. They enjoyed the combat. They enjoyed the environments. The graphics were amazing. And this is a story-driven game. When it comes to the story, it all boils down to, I didn't like what they did to this character. I didn't like these plot points. I didn't like this major twist that happens. I didn't like the ending. Thus, this is a terrible game. And that is not a good way to review a game. You can't be that subjective to your own emotions and let them get in the way of the story that's presented here. The worst example of this was a 20-minute review where the reviewer admits to having only played 2 hours of the game, got to a certain part, and was so upset by what happened that he turned it off and is never going to play the game again. And that is why it's a terrible game. That is an actual review for The Last of Us Part 2. And I would encourage to don't let these people narrow your thoughts on this game, because all they're doing is focusing on very small parts of the overall experience. If you loved the first game, there are plenty of things that happen in this game that you will love that are not getting focused on. There are flashbacks in this that are going to give you your fill for everything that made the first game special. And I would really stress that you make your own opinions about this game. Don't watch other people's reviews or watch a playthrough with a guy commentating and hating on it the entire time. I would really encourage you to go out, buy it, and play it for yourself before you decide if you're going to hate it. And if you don't want to give them money right now, I would recommend finding a no commentary playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2 and watching it from start to finish, and then make your decision. Now, I do plan in the future to make a series of videos about The Last of Us Part 2, focusing on the central themes. I'm probably never going to do a Let's Play of it until, a few months, if not a few years from now, because this is a game that I feel people need to experience themselves. But right now is not the time to make those videos. I want the dust to settle, and I want people to kind of come to the realization as to how important this game is before I make those videos. So this is going to be the only video that I make in regards to The Last of Us Part 2 for a little while. I'm going to continue my playthrough of the original Last of Us, and then continue on with other playthroughs from there. But I will be coming back to The Last of Us Part 2, just not anytime now. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.